Welcome to Films and Stuff with your hosts, Pete Mitchell and Ethan Hunt.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Films and Stuff podcast. I am Ethan, joined by Master of Ceremonies, Pete. Hey, Pete.
Your friendly neighborhood Pete.
Which is an apt phrase because today you are doing the education of Ethan into the Spider-Verse. Is that right?
Yeah, less education, more trying to convince you to watch Into the Spider-Verse and then Across the Spider-Verse.
Here's the background, friends. There is an animated Spider-Man movie, Into the Spider-Verse.
That was the first one, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
I will say that I never saw this movie for a few reasons. One, it was animated. And two, which is related to one, I thought that it had nothing to do with the MCU. It was just a standalone Spider-Man animated movie. I skipped it. I went on with my merry life. Pete has now informed me that was a strategic faux pas, and especially so because of the new Spider-Verse movie. So Pete is here. There will be spoilers to explain to me what I have missed and convince me why I should go back and watch both of these, right?
Yes. So I will just say, I'm not going to give you any spoilers for the current movie, which have just come out, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is, if not the best, I would say it is in strong contention for being in the top 3 of the best Spider-Man movies, period.
Whoa. Say it again. That's a huge statement. I want to make sure that you are comfortable with that.
No, I'm very comfortable. And I will die on this hill that I think Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, an animated movie made by Sony, is in the top 3, if not the best movie in the entire pantheon of all Spider-Man movies, whether they are MCU related or not. And as we've seen, all the Spider-Man movies are now a part of the MCU.
Wow. Let that sink in.
It's awesome. To explain Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, I have to take you back a couple of years.
Okay.
We all know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
We do.
Always has been from the comics in the get-go.
That's right.
And those of us who are avid comic book readers, and maybe even those of us who watch the cartoons growing up, will remember that Spider-Man has had a very complicated history of other variants of Spider-Man. So, for example, you have Ben Reilly, which is the Scarlet Spider, who is a clone of Peter Parker. Typical comic book complicatedness. You have Spider-Gwen, who is Gwen Stacy from another universe. That universe's version of Spider-Man, and she's dating Peter Parker. Peter Parker dies in her universe. That's her defining moment.
Right.
You know, we have a far-off future version of Spider-Man called Spider-Man 2099. Again, just trust me on this. Go with me on this. In the last 20 years, Marvel decided that they wanted to refresh Spider-Man. And they did so not by retroactively changing the continuity of Peter Parker, but instead by creating a new character called Miles Morales. Miles Morales is half black, half Latino. I'm not sure what half Latino he is.
Okay.
And he also gets the power of Spider-Man because another radioactive spider bites him. And he gets a power set that's similar, but not the same as the Spider-Man that is Peter Parker.
Okay.
So that's Miles Morales. The core thing you need to know is that in some universes, New York City has 2 Spider-Men. The Spider-Man we all know and Miles Morales.
Okay.
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is an origin story of Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Okay.
So we meet Miles Morales, we learn about his history, we learn about how he becomes Spider-Man, and then it's about him kind of learning his powers. And in doing so, what happens is Kingpin is the main bad guy of that movie.
Okay.
And in that movie, Kingpin is trying to bring his family back who have died. And so the way he wants to bring his family back is by opening up a hole into another dimension, into another universe, and taking his family from there. And in doing so, he rips the continuity of space and time and creates a scenario where different Spider-Men from different universes come crashing into this current one.
Oh, we've seen that before.
Right.
Yep.
So we meet Spider-Gwen, who's Gwen Stacy from another dimension. We meet Spider-Man Noir, who's voiced by Nicolas Cage.
No way.
Yeah. We meet Spider-Ham, who's a pig that got bit by a radioactive spider and becomes Spider-Man. And we meet Penny Parker, who's this little teenage girl who builds a Spider-Man mech suit. So there's quite a few of them. And then we meet the other main Spider-Man, voiced by Jake Johnson. And so they basically work together in tandem with Miles Morales to teach him about what it means to be Spider-Man, about the sacrifices that he'll eventually make. And then, you know, he obviously saves the day, blah, blah, blah. Fantastic standalone movie. Now, not only was the movie really good because the plot was excellent, but what really made it good was the animation was one of the best art styles and animation styles I have ever seen in my life.
Oh, really?
I say this with no hyperbole. I don't think there is a more stunning, visually amazing movie in an animated show than Into the Spider-Verse. I honestly think that if you watch it,
this is Sony Studio.
This is Sony. Unbelievable that Sony of all people did this, because Sony has had a very poor track record. They're starting to get better, but even now within this quote unquote Spider-Verse that they're trying to build, their track record is horrible. I was very skeptical when this movie was coming out. I saw it, I was blown away, and I highly recommend it to anybody to watch. Fast forward 5 years later, Spider-Man Across the Universe comes out, and this is the continuation of Miles Morales' adventures, because at the end of Spider-Man 1, every different variant of Spider-Man goes back to their home dimensions, and he's back on his own in his universe in Brooklyn, saving the day as friendly Spider-Man. First of all, I didn't think it was going to be possible to improve upon the animation styles, but this movie blew me away. I have never taken acid in my life, but after having watched this movie, I think I know what acid would be like in terms of visually.
Honorary member.
It's so good. It's so impressive what they've done. And because Spider-Man goes into different dimensions, each dimension has a different art style.
Oh, that's cool.
So when you see a Spider-Man in another dimension, for example, if the dimension is black and white, he'll come in and he'll maintain his own animation style within the black and white universe.
Okay. So you see him in his normal colored suit.
Exactly. For example.
In a black and white background.
Exactly.
If it's like a world that's all green, he'll be sticking out in his blue and red in an all green world. Okay.
Exactly. So it's really well done that way. Honestly, that good. The second thing is, and this is actually my one criticism of this movie. Actually, there's two criticisms, one smaller. The small one is that it's a long movie. It's 2 hours, 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think it needed to be that long, because at the 2 hour mark, I was like, all right, I'm kind of ready for this to go. And I say that only because visually it's so striking, you get a little bit tired. So that's the first point. The second criticism, and I think this is the big one, and I blame Sony for this, the marketing behind this movie is very misleading. This movie is a part 1 of 2, and you don't know that.
Oh, no way.
I didn't.
It's like Fast X.
It's like Fast X, but at least in Fast X, we knew that because they made that very clear from the get-go, that this movie is the beginning of the end of the finale, and the story isn't complete with this movie. In Spider-Man, however, they don't tell you that. I don't remember in any of the trailers them implying that this was going to be part 1 of 2.
Is that really wrong? What's your damage?
So in Fast X, it's wrong because the movie was not complete.
Yeah.
In this movie, I say that it's a little bit wrong because I got caught unprepared for that, right? So I was a little disappointed because I wanted it to resolve.
You were not emotionally prepared.
Here's where this works in their favor. One, the second movie's coming out in March, so there's not much of a wait.
Yeah.
I think they kind of wrote and filmed the movies back to back. Okay, so that's the first advantage. The second advantage, and this is going to, I think, really resonate with you, but this movie is like Empire Strikes Back. It really builds upon the characters that we learned about in the first movie.
Yeah.
And even though, like in Empire, the movie ends with a somewhat of a cliffhanger, and we all understood that there had to be a third movie after that. Mm-hmm. The movie on its own is still a standalone movie that's complete, unlike Fast X.
Okay, that makes sense.
So there is still an overarching plot that's incomplete, but unlike Fast X, they were able to show character growth and a complete arc for some of its characters, which is really important.
You're right.
I have a sneaking suspicion that if they're able to maintain the quality in the third movie, this is going to be one of the best all-time trilogies of any movie we've ever seen, period.
Wow, that's just incredibly high praise. I'm so disappointed I haven't seen the original Into the Spider-Verse. I absolutely need to see that this weekend. And maybe even across.
I don't blame you because a lot of it comes down to the fact that Into the Spider-Verse is animated, and even with Pixar helping as much as they have, animated movies, at least outside of Western Europe and North America, haven't really broken out of that mindset that animation is for children. So in the film hall I went to, in the cinema, I think I was the only adult who was there on his own to watch the movie. Every other adult there was chaperoning their kid.
I think you said that was the case for one other movie that you and I saw recently.
Super Mario, Yeah,
Super Mario.
Yeah.
The things we do for this podcast, listeners.
Honestly, so
Pete is really putting himself in risk.
Yeah, but I honestly think that even if you take away the animation aspect of it, if you look at just the plot, you're going to come out of it so happy because the story is genuinely excellent.
So Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse should be on Disney Plus, right?
No, not necessarily, because even though Spider-Man as a character is owned by Disney, Spider-Man in his non-MCU movies are owned by Sony.
So where would I watch this?
Netflix. Hilariously.
Oh, it's on Netflix?
I saw it on Netflix here. What's interesting, and you've raised a great point, is that Into the Spider-Verse was kind of like Sony's, we're going to make a Spider-Man movie on our own. It's not going to be a part of the MCU. That's fine. Across the Spider-Verse integrates Spider-Man into the MCU, and they do it so fabulously.
But does that mean that Sony needed permission from Disney for the other MCU characters, or they don't like show characters, they just talk about like plot where it's inferred?
They don't show characters, they only show other Spider-Man people. I don't want to spoil the cameo because when I saw it, I almost did a spit take because I didn't see it coming. That's how good it was.
So, but just don't spoil then, but do you think when Disney saw this movie, they're like, WTF, I can't believe, or you think they're okay with it?
No, they have to be okay with it because, again, even the Spider-Man MCU movies are actually made by Sony in conjunction with MCU. That's how when you see the movie logo here, it says in association with Marvel.
So I feel like you have achieved your goal, which is to convince me that I must see Into the Spider-Verse and I must see Across the Spider-Verse. You know, the two-part movies, which are now becoming the norm and not just the exception, I guess I'm okay with this with a few caveats. And the first one is, when did we see Dune together? We saw Dune in 2020, 2021?
Yeah, we saw it 2 years ago in November.
2021?
2021.
I mean, I have a problem that it takes 2 years for the next one to come out. I think the unofficial rule should be maximum 12 months. And to be honest, I'd really like it to be 6 months.
That was a special case. I think Warner Brothers said, because remember, this was at the height of COVID and
they
were
didn't even
still
know they were
doing
going to
the
make this
simultaneous releases, not just in cinema, but also on HBO Max.
Yeah.
So I think Warner Brothers basically said, we're going to give you the budget to make one of these movies. If it's commercially viable, we'll give you the budget to make the second. That's why they didn't film it back to back.
Yeah.
I agree with you. And that's the advantage again for this movie. So from what I understand, Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse comes out in March. So it's less than 12 months.
Yeah. I mean, that's the disappointment I have is that I would really like to see, I guess if you're using like US showtimes, you'd have kind of like the December holiday part 1, and then you'd have kind of like the summer July holiday part 2. I mean, just to keep kind of the momentum. 12 months I can live with, but like 2 years, to be honest, I'm a little bit fuzzy about Dune 1. I should probably watch Dune 1 again. I understand the big picture, but just remind myself. Yeah. And who is the director that we recently spoke about for the show with kids? And he said I had to make parts 1 and 2 at the same time because I didn't want this thing to be like Stranger Things where the kids are 5 years older when the story is kind of the next day. What? Oh, you know what it was? It was Avatar, right?
Oh, it was Avatar. You're absolutely right.
James Cameron. Because Stranger Things, which kind of takes place like within a few weeks, right? Every season is kind of like
one summer after another max.
Yeah. The kids, God bless them, Dustin is starting to look like he can buy beer, you know? God bless child actors. As a kid, all you want to do is look and be older as a kid, right? As a kid, your only complaint and your only stress is, I'm not old enough. I want to be older. The rest of your life, all you want to do is be younger, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that if you take that away from kids and you're like, oh man, that kid's starting to go through puberty, he's starting to get facial hair, he's starting to, you know, break out. Like, man, talk about adding like a second unnecessary layer of stress to a kid's life.
Absolutely.
Know? But yeah, I think that's why Cameron said for Avatar, because there's kids in there. He's like, I've got to film these back to back. I'm not going to have a thing where, you know, I have part 2 and the kids are like dramatically older. That's not what this is about, you know?
Yeah.
That's the benefit of animation. You never have people age out.
For Spider-Man, here's what I say to you for these series of movies.
Say it.
Commit to watching at least a half hour of Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
If within that first half hour, the animation isn't special enough that it's grabbing you, or the story isn't good enough that it's grabbing you, I think you can just kind of like skip it. I think you'll be fine. But that's how confident I am that within the first 30 minutes, treat this as you would a stream or skip episode. I think you're going to absolutely smash through that first movie.
Okay.
And then go to the cinema to watch Across the Spider-Verse.
Okay.
I told Ethan offline, the biggest regret I have about our top 10 predictions isn't even the fact that I only have 9 because I made a mistake. It's actually that I didn't put Spider-Man in my top 10.
It's got to be a pretty big mistake where you're like, my biggest mistake isn't that my top 10 only has 9.
Yeah. That's my biggest regret, is that I put Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse as an alternate, but I think based on how good this movie was, I think it actually should be on my top 10 list. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's in the top 5 of the blockbuster summer.
Should we take this opportunity, based on that very bold proclamation, to revisit our top 10 list? I mean, we've had 2 big ones. We've had Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 3. We've had Fast X, Volume 1.
We have The Flash next weekend.
Oh, man.
Then we've got
Transformers.
A bunch of releases in July.
Yeah.
August is a bit dry.
The big ones were really
Mission Impossible.
Flash, Mission Impossible, Guardians, and Fast X. Those are kind of like the big 4 that we all thought in some configuration we're going to make up our top 3, right?
Yeah. Mission, Fast, Guardians, and Flash are the top 4. They're the shared top 4 between us, just in different orders.
Yeah.
And then everything else becomes a little bit of a crapshoot.
Yeah. I mean, so Flash is next weekend.
Flash is next weekend.
So that means, I wonder if it's coming out in Dubai on a Wednesday or a Thursday. I have to see that opening night. And I have to say, I am more excited for that movie than I am, I think, for Fast X or for Guardians. Not for Ant-Man. I was more excited for Ant-Man 3, although that just took my hopes and dreams and crushed them under a purple cape of domestic violence, Kang the Conqueror. But I'm super excited for Flash.
Up until I saw this movie, I would have agreed with you. I thought The Flash was going to be not just the most successful movie, but I thought it was going to be the best movie.
Mm-hmm.
This is obviously very subjective, but I think in terms of the subjective best superhero movie this summer, I think I just saw it in Across the Spider-Verse. Rumors are that the Flash movie is also doing so well on internal testing that they've already started talking about a sequel for it, in which they're saying they want Ezra Miller to come back.
Oh,
so it just goes to show you, in Hollywood, you can commit all sorts of crimes and get away with it as long as your movie makes money. I know that sounds really cynical, but like, I really dislike the fact that Ezra Miller is going to basically get to rewrite his history because of how he does.
What did he do again? Was he the one who had the cult?
Yeah, like a pseudo cult. He assaulted a married couple in their home. He abducted a minor, took her out across state lines, indoctrinated her. They have done a lot of less than savory things.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of accountability, and I don't see any here. So that's how I feel.
Ugly situation all around.
I understand where Warner Brothers is coming from. They put $350 million into this movie after advertising. So that, I get it. But, you're sending the wrong kind of message to a lot of people.
I'm going to reserve my judgment. I mean, my official judgment is absolutely, if you do something wrong, you should be cut off. You shouldn't be rewarded, and that behavior shouldn't be forgiven. In terms of whether, as a fan, I want to see Ezra Miller reprise that role, I can't even remember the last time I've seen Ezra Miller like in a film.
He was in that Fantastic Beasts movie.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't know.
In any case, Spider-Man, I got to see it.
You have to watch it. Of the summer so far, it is the strongest must-watch in cinema I've seen.
Say it again. Pete says that this is the strongest of the must-see in cinema recommendations he's made so far this summer, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. And I stand by my statement.
That cannot be ignored.
Assuming the third movie, Beyond the Spider-Verse, comes in at the same quality or even better, honestly, I think this is going to go down as one of the best trilogies in Hollywood, period. It doesn't matter that it's animated or not. I genuinely think it's going to go down as one of the best movie trilogies. I
like these big statements. Pete, where can people contact us if they want to argue or agree?
Yes, that's statement? Good. You can always drop us a tweet at F&S Podcast. You can DM us on Instagram at Films and Stuff Podcast. You can email us aloha@filmsandstuffpodcast.com. But as always, the easiest way to get in touch with us is to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and leave a comment below. Indeed. Listeners, thank you. Pete, this episode was all you. You did the heavy lifting so that I didn't have to. I will take your recommendations and I will most likely confirm them on the next episode of Films and Stuff. All right. Thanks, Ethan. Thank you, everyone. Bye now.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Films and Stuff. If you haven't already, please subscribe and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever podcasts are downloaded. Films and Stuff. There is no substitute.